I am Supreme. Today's Astro Oracle investigation will be on Maura Murray. Maura Murray was a 21-year-old University of Massachusetts Amherst nursing student who mysteriously vanished on the evening of February 9th, 2004, following a minor car crash in Woodsville, New Hampshire. Her disappearance remains one of the most widely discussed and baffling unsolved cold cases in modern American history, often cited as the first major mystery of the social media age. Let's talk about the disappearance timeline. Now, on the afternoon of February the 9th, Maura emailed her professors claiming a false family emergency and withdrew $280 from an ATM. She packed her black 1996 Saturn sedan and left campus, driving north toward New Hampshire. She told her professors that she had a family death. And come to find out, nobody died in her family. So why does she lie about a family death to take a week off? Why would she have to do that? What was she going to do during that week? Who was she going to meet with? Nobody knows to this very day. And also nobody knows where she is to this very day. Now, at roughly 7:30 p.m. on that day, Maura crashed her car into a snowbank on a sharp hairpin turn along Route 112 in Haverhill, New Hampshire. Now, this was her second accident within 2 days. She crashed her father's car. Her father lent her his car because her car was having trouble. So prior to her disappearance, she had a dinner date with her father. He withdrew $4,000 from his account to put a down payment on a new car for his daughter. So he lent her his car so she can go to a campus house party. Okay? And she crashed his car. It was said that they got into an argument because he didn't know whether his insurance was going to cover the crash. Come to find out, it did cover the crash, and all he had to do was pay the $500 deductible. So I guess that solved that situation, and he told his daughter Maura, "You're lucky that the police did not arrest you for DUI because she was drunk during that accident." Maura had a drinking problem. She had a lot of problems. She was also bulimic. She had an eating disorder. But that eating disorder wasn't as popular as her drinking problem. Now, I'm going to get to other problems that she had too. Now, a passing school bus driver stopped and offered assistance while she got into that second accident. Maura declined, according to his story. Maura declined help, claiming she had already called AAA. And begged him not to contact the police. Knowing there was no cell service in that area, the bus driver drove to his nearby home to call authorities anyway. A police officer arrived at the scene roughly 10 to 15 minutes later. The car was locked and abandoned with a rag stuffed in the tailpipe. Maura was gone, leaving behind no footprints in the snow because it was snowy and icy. It was 25 degrees Fahrenheit that day. No signs of a struggle and no further digital footprint. Now, the New Hampshire State Police Cold Case Unit officially classified her disappearance as a suspicious missing persons case. Law enforcement has deployed advanced tracking measures, including LIDAR mapping technology and modern facial recognition software, to comb through the terrain and analyze digital records. In February 2024, state authorities released an updated age progression photograph, simulating that Maura would look like in her early 40s. That's pretty much all they wrote on Maura Murray. Now, I've watched a few podcasts on her within the last 24 hours. So I got a lot of this case well ingrained in my energy. I am supreme. I am a high-ranking astro-oracle psychic investigator. I communicate with the living and the dead for the purpose of bringing justice to communities, families, and the world at large. I am about to conduct a high-ranking astro-oracle psychic investigation on Maura Murray. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, hit the bell button so you will be notified when I drop my high-ranking astro-oracle psychic investigations. For all my newcomers, welcome to my channel. Also, please support me on my other two channels, Chosen Oracle Messages, which is where I do collective readings for the chosen community. You will know when you are chosen because my messages will resonate with your soul on that side of my channel. I also have another channel which is under construction, but right now it's called Astro Oracle Collectives. So my collective is under construction right now. I'm still trying to get together all of the decks that I'm going to be using on that collective side of my channel. But still, go over there and subscribe and help me build that side of my channel just as much as all of y'all have helped me build this side of my channel. Shouts out to all of you who suggest content, who engage. I appreciate every last one of y'all. So, let's talk about Maura Murray. Also, if y'all would like any personal reading, all of my personal readings that I do is in the bio. Not the description below, my bio. Okay? All of my pricing information, all of my contact information, and payments are all in the bio. I will be updating my bio too. Probably by the time I upload this reading, my bio will be updated because I will start doing video chat readings. 15-minute readings and 30-minute readings where we're able to connect face-to-face and we can talk about whatever you want. I will be pulling cards and talking about your alignments. And you can ask me whatever you want for 15 minutes, 30 minutes. I'm going to try to do an hour, but I'm going to get all my pricings together. So stay tuned for that. That should be updated in the bio by now if you are watching this reading. Because my goal is to have that updated by the time I upload this reading. So now let's get back to Maura Murray. Now, I have Maura's date of birth in front of me, where the planets were aligned the day she was born, and I have where the planets were the day she disappeared. Now, people find it hard to believe that Maura would disappear without a trace or without letting anybody know where she was going. Now, I beg to differ because here are my theories based on what I know about Maura and the podcasts that I've watched on her including the popular podcast of what is his name? Dr. Phil. I watched Dr. Phil, and he covered Maura's case. And I've learned a lot about Maura Murray. Now, Maura has a history of theft. She has a history of lying. Now, I'm not here to badge her in any form or fashion, but I am here to expose her humanity, because we're all human. We've all gotten into trouble. We all have gotten into mischief. We all have done things that we're not proud of. Okay? But I'm going to show you why I'm exposing her humanity. Because out of all of the things that she has gotten herself into, I don't understand how you can believe that she would disappear without a trace. What would make you think a woman who can steal and a woman who can lie, she's even stolen credit card information, people's identity, during a period of time where she was ordering things for herself using other people's information. She would steal this information off of receipts. I mean, we're talking about a woman who was in college. She was on her way to a good career. She was not just some broke individual wandering the streets, having to steal identity. So the fact that she was even caught up in that lifestyle of theft speaks volumes. Now, it also diminishes the fact that people actually believe that she would disappear without a trace. That they believe that they don't believe that she could disappear without letting anybody know. Anybody who can steal, okay, especially stealing people's identity, is liable to go missing without letting anybody know. It's that simple. She lied about a family death to get a week off. Why? Now, we all have done that at a job. I'm not going to say we all have done that at a job, but we all have some form of fashion told, whether you call it a white lie, a black lie. I don't understand these colored lies, like a black lie, white lie, Chinese lie. What are these lies called? An African lie? I don't know the difference. But anyway, we've all told these type of lies. A lie is a lie, whether it's a black lie, a white lie, a Chinese lie, a Catholic lie, a Christian lie, a Muslim lie, a Latin lie, an Indian lie. A lie is a lie. But we've all told them. Also, she has an alcohol problem. She purchased a lot of alcohol on numerous occasions. She was always seen purchasing alcohol, even on campus. So, and a lot of alcohol was found in her abandoned vehicle. Now, also, that was her second accident. After she ruined her father's car, and I'm almost certain she was upset and felt guilty because it's been exposed that she had a drinking problem. I'm quite sure her family knows that she had a drinking problem. But a couple of days later, she got into another accident drinking and driving. So I'm almost certain now that guilt trip is at its height. So it wouldn't surprise me if she intentionally disappeared because she felt guilty. She felt like there's no coming back from this. Like I totally ruined my family's trust, especially my dad, who just withdrew $4,000 on a down payment for a vehicle for me. And I know how that felt. And I'm going to tell you why I know how that felt. Because I myself not only had a drinking problem and drug problem, which I will be having a moment of silence for. Matter of fact, let's have that moment of silence now. Because I'm going to also tell you why I understand what Maura was going through. So let's have a moment of silence first for the alcoholics and drug addicts who did not have the opportunity to catch themselves like I caught myself. Because I suffer from the same beast. And although I've been clean and sober for 18 years, that beast is still alive and well. I just don't feed it. It will never go nowhere. You cannot destroy the demon of addiction. You can only arrest it. This is why the steps to recovery are so important, which I learned a lot from. Because it helped me use my mind to process life. Because life doesn't get any better when you stop drinking and drugging. You just have to learn how to process life so you no longer have to drink or drug. And also my spiritual awakening, as well as my astrological understanding of our connection to the planetary forces, and the whole spirituality of understanding the elements, earth, air, water, and fire. I was able to fix my entire life using all of these different spiritual awarenesses, as well as the 12 steps to recovery that helped me process my addictions. I use all of these tools, spiritual tools, and it helped me fix my entire life. So I am a very compassionate soul. I understand a lot of the human condition. I am not perfect. Perfect people do not understand the human condition. Imperfect, scarred people who understand the storms of life understand the human condition. I am far from perfect. What you are witnessing in my nature is compassion that came from all of my scars, all of my weaknesses, all of my trials and tribulations that I've had to live through, and keep my head up and use my mind to process what I was going through, learning how to forgive myself and forgive others, but also to understand the role that I played in all of my affairs. That's what recovery is all about. That's what growth is all about. So I am a grown man, for real, not just because of my age, and I'm not a spring chicken, but I am a grown man because I'm actually growing up. I'm not just getting older, I'm actually growing up. A lot of us don't actually grow up, we just get older. So let's have this moment of silence right quick. Thank you. Because I take drug addiction and anybody who suffers from drug addiction and alcoholism very serious. And my heart goes out to them and their families for the ones who lost their battle. Because this battle is no joke. It is not a laughing matter at all. Men, women, and children today are dying of drug addiction, alcohol addiction. Children are suffering from parents who are suffering with who are battling drug addictions and alcohol addictions. So this is not a laughing matter. Now, the fact that Maura destroyed her father's car, I was getting ready to let you know I understand that, because that's part of my story too. I know what it's like to destroy a vehicle that your father gave you to help you out until you can get your own, or till you can move on to the next level and get on your own 2 feet. That happened to me too. And I felt guilty. I felt guilty when my father gave me a nice cutlass. When I moved back home after traveling so much all over the country, working, but really running from myself. In my addictions, I've been there. Trying to go all over running from myself, masquerading as, oh, I'm traveling for jobs. And yeah, I was traveling for jobs, but I was also running from myself too. Hopefully, if I show up in this place, I won't meet myself. But guess what? Wherever I landed, there I was. I showed up wherever I ran to. And one thing about it is you cannot run from yourself in life, because wherever you run, you will always run into yourself. You'd be surprised how long it takes us to learn that. We could run all over the world thinking that if I could just move over to this area, I won't find myself. This part of me that I don't like, I won't find it in that area. If I could move out this neighborhood, if I could just get that job, or if I could just get this amount of money, no, it will never work. Don't even waste your time. Take it from some of us who have already did that. We ran wherever we could run, wherever we could afford to run, and we only ran right into ourselves. So eventually you have to face yourself and process yourself and recover and grow up. So yeah, I know what it's like. I know that guilt trip. I felt so bad and so guilty. And my father was very understanding, but I felt guilty and I left. But when I left to go get help. And that was the beginning of my recovery journey. I finally came out and admitted I need help. They always knew I needed help. My family always knew I needed help. But see, you gotta understand you need help. So when you recover, you have to do it for you. You can't do it because other people want you to recover. You have to do it for you. And that's what I had to. I had to get to that point where I knew I needed help. So let me go get the help that I need. You have to admit that. That's part of the steps. Admittance. You have to admit. Face yourself. So, I went through all of that. I understand that guilt trip. I've stole many things. I've been arrested many times. I've been to jail many times. I've got into many fights and altercations. I've burned a lot of bridges. Family, friends, relationships, ruined a lot. But recovery gives you a mindset that understands how to make amends to people, which I did. And forgave people by understanding the role that I played. And I was forgiven. But there's no better way to apologize to the people who you've wronged and hurt because you were battling with yourself. There's no better way to apologize than to live by example. Because a lot of times they don't want to hear it. They done heard everything from you. I'm going to stop this. I'm going to stop that. I won't do this no more. But you still do it. That's why the only way to apologize to your family and your friends and your relationships is to just do it. Just live the life that you want people to understand you are not the same person that you used to be. Just live it. Because they don't want to hear it. That's the best way to apologize. So, Maura Murray was born May 4th, 1982. On that day, the sun was in Taurus and the moon was in Virgo. And when you put a Virgo moon in Taurus's house, which is the second house, Leo comes first. This is Maura Murray's birth chart energy. Her Leo energy comes first. However, she's not a Leo, she's a Taurus. And her moon is in Virgo. Taurus is up here in the 10th house of success. So she was destined for success, especially financial success, because Taurus is money and material possessions. She was destined for wealth and money. And her moon is in Virgo over here in Taurus's house. And Virgo is work. So she knew exactly how to work for all of the financial successes that she wanted. There was nothing wrong with her work ethic. This was a whole university college student in chemical engineering. She didn't have to be a thief. She didn't have to lie about a family death. So she was battling with something deeper than the surface of the life that she lived at the surface. And this is what we're going to get to the bottom of in this reading. Leo energy comes first. Leo is celebrations, parties, love affairs, playful love affairs, flirtation, celebrations, entertainment, children, fun, play. That's Leo energy. Now the sun rules Leo. So wherever the sun was, we'll elaborate on what she expressed the most. Her sun was in Taurus up here in the 10th house. So she expressed her desire to be financially and materially successful. That was big for her. Sometimes we can want it so bad that we'll try to steal our way there. Now, she disappeared February 9th, 2004. On that day, the sun was in Aquarius and the moon was in Virgo. Now, before I pull that chart, let's look at how the sun that day played out in her energy before we get to how it played out in the chart of that day. The sun was in Aquarius the day she disappeared. Where's Aquarius? Right here in the 7th house. So we know somebody she was in a partnership with is involved, because the 7th house is Libra's house. That's the house of the partner, the spouse. Aquarius is the friend, the stranger, the individual from the group, the community. Now, wherever Libra is at will let us know where she met this friend. Libra is down here in the 3rd house of the local environment. That's Gemini's house. The 3rd house is the house of the local travel, the local community, roads, the neighborhood, neighbors, stores, every possible experience in the local community. She met this individual right there on the road, and she could have been traveling with them, because this is showing me that she was not alone. Libra represents the significant other. So the victim was accompanied by somebody else. And that somebody else is right here. And that's where the sun was that day. And the moon was also in Virgo, just like Maura's moon is in Virgo. So there was definitely money involved. And help, because Virgo represents help. It rules the 6th house of work and employment and health. And help, where you see Capricorn at, the authority figure. We're going to get to that. Now, let's pull the chart of this Aquarius sun and this Virgo moon. When you put a Virgo moon in Aquarius's house, which is the 11th house, look what comes first. Scorpio. Scorpio is the energy of sex, death, and shared resources. So we do know if she left with somebody, she left inside of another person's car. That's shared resources. Now, where did Scorpio come from in Maura's energy? It came from the 4th house of home and family. She ended up at someone's home. Or this is somebody that traveled with her from her home and landed in her first house. This is the individual who came first. Somebody's home is involved. Now, where is Aquarius at in this chart, being that that's where the sun was that day? Also in the fourth house of home. That's how I know there is someone's home involved, because both fourth houses are prominent. Now, where is Virgo at the day she disappeared? Right here in Aquarius's house. The same Aquarius whose house she's at. The same Aquarius energy that's in her house of relationships. And the same Aquarius energy that the sun was in that day. This individual masqueraded themselves as helping her. She met with someone who took her to their home to help her where she met with foul play. How do I know that? Because Scorpio comes first. Pluto is the planet that rules Scorpio. Pluto in Maura's energy is in Libra, the partner. Libra ends right here in the 12th house. This was a hidden partnership. Libra came from Maura's third house of the person she was traveling with. Now, the 12th house is Pisces' house. Nobody knows who this individual was, but we're going to unravel the energies surrounding this individual that'll give us a good idea who they are in her circle. Now, romance, sex, and intoxication leading to her demise. Being that the partner landed in Pisces' house, let's look at what Pisces was actually doing. Pisces was in the 5th house. That's Leo's house. And Maura's Leo energy comes first. Pisces in the 5th house represents intoxication as a pleasurable experience, celebrating alcohol, drugs, and psychedelics, mind-altering, mood-changing substances, and parties. Where did Pisces come from in Maura's energy? It came from her house of death. So if Maura has been unalive, intoxication and alcoholism and possible drug addiction, but definitely alcoholism, plays a major role in her unalivement. Now, what's going on in the house of death the day she actually disappeared? Gemini. Gemini rules the local environment where she was last seen. Gemini rules the local neighborhood, the local neighbor, traveling on the road. Gemini rules cars, roads, travels, communications, interactions. What's going on in Gemini's house the day she disappeared? Capricorn. The same Capricorn who was at work in her energy. This Capricorn energy is an employee. It came from the house of employment. Now, Capricorn is a government energy. So this is most likely a government employee. Now, if you want to elaborate on this government employee that she met with on that road, let's look inside of Capricorn's house, which is the 10th house. In Capricorn's house, I see Leo, the energy of children. The same energy that comes first in Maura's energy. This government employee has a Leo energy attached to it. This is an ideal school bus driver. If the school bus driver is involved, I can see his alignment. That's the government driver. The government individual on the road is an authority figure of children. So this person is in the energy of her disappearance in some form or fashion. Whether he unalived her or not. I do see a school bus driver. Because the third house is the house of early childhood education in schools. And Capricorn there represents employees, especially government employees and teachers. But Capricorn is also law enforcement. And so is Leo in the 10th house. Responding to drama in the public environment. Responding to public drama. Public response to drama is Leo in the 10th house. That is the police officer. Now, she went to the friend's home who she met on the road. Aquarius is the friend whose house she's at. Uranus is the planet that rules Aquarius. Look where Maura's Uranus is. Maura's Uranus is in Sagittarius, which is also in Maura's 5th house. And Maura is a 5th house baby. Sagittarius represents somebody who is a traveler. This is also could be somebody who is a foreigner. Sagittarius rules the 9th house of colleges, universities. Somebody she was in a romantic experience with from her college. Aries. Where did Aries land at the day she disappeared? Right there in the 6th house of employment and help. Could somebody from her college came to help her where she still met with foul play? And this partner remained undercover. I'm hearing voices. I've been hearing voices for the past 24 hours. And I'm going to pull these voices because they are dying to come out. I'm going to pull these voices. What happened to Maura Murray? All of my decks have been pre-shuffled in my rituals before I logged on. Tapping into the energy of Maura Murray. What happened to Maura Murray? In 4 words. What happened to Maura Murray? Tell me what happened to you. I got my spirit team on board, so they're going to be assisting me as well. What happened to Maura Murray? What really happened? Why did she leave? Who was she going to meet with? Where did she go? What was this about? What really happened to Maura Murray February 9th, 2004? What really happened February 9th, 2004? What really happened February 9th, 2004 to Maura Murray? 1, 2, 3, 4. You can't make this up. An employee. But I tell you, that 6th house. Help. Somebody who was at work. Somebody who was at work. Now, we do know that a school bus driver is one person that was confirmed to have stopped for her. That is an employee. And I broke down the nature of that employee, which the shoe fits the bus driver. That Capricorn in the 3rd house, where Leo is in Capricorn's house, is the shoe that fits this bus driver as an employee. Racism. This, remember I just told you, I see a foreigner involved in some form of fashion as well. If there is a foreigner involved, which I believe it is, this racism card would make sense. Friends, Aquarius energy. Somebody from her friendship circle is involved. Physical violence, of course. Of course. Physical violence. Now, I'm going to pull a chart from Maura Murray's energy. Open up a chart that will elaborate on what happened to Maura Murray February 9, 2004. Open up a chart that will elaborate on what happened to Maura Murray February 9th, 2004. Open up a chart that will elaborate on what happened to Maura Murray February 9th, 2004. We're going to use this card. It jumped out. Look at that. Jupiter in the ninth. Jupiter in the ninth is the foreigner. Jupiter rules Sagittarius, which rules a foreigner. The ninth house is the house of foreign affairs. Jupiter rules the ninth house. Jupiter belongs in the ninth house. It comes from the ninth house. It rules the ninth house. Jupiter is at home in the ninth house. Long distance travels. Wherever Maura went, if her body is not in those woods, she is a long distance from where her car was found. Let's follow this chart. Jupiter that day was in Virgo, the help. Jupiter in Virgo in the ninth house. Guess what comes first? Capricorn, the authority figure. You can't make this up. Let me show you. Capricorn comes first. There goes Jupiter in Virgo right there in the ninth house. Capricorn comes first. Now keep in mind, just because two people are the same color doesn't mean they're the same culture or the same race. Color has nothing to do with race. Something just told me to speak that. So, not all skin folk is kinfolk. And that goes for all colors. So, racism is deeper than color. So, where is Maura at in this chart? She's a Taurus. Taurus is right here in the fifth house. And she is a fifth house baby. Where Leo comes first. Where is Leo at in this chart? Bam! In the house of death. She has been unalive through physical violence by somebody in a position of authority. Now, the 10th house is the house of authority figures. The same authority figure, Capricorn, that she met on the road the day she disappeared, who she developed a relationship with in her own energy. Libra, right there, the partner. That same partner showed up in the 10th house to help her. But she met with foul play. Venus rules Libra. Venus that day was in Aries. The person that's from this ninth house. Colleges, universities. Jupiter came out in the ninth house. We have a lot of dots connecting. Maura, her Venus is in Pisces. Intoxication. The same intoxication that played a role in her death. You can't make this up. You cannot make this up. You can't make this up. Who is involved in the energy of this disappearance? There's always two people, a suspect and a witness, even if the witness wasn't present for the crime. And if the victim did not survive to testify, somebody else other than the suspect knows what happened. And I'm going to pick these two people right now. What two people are in the energy of this surrounding Maura Murray's disappearance and death? Two people in the energy surrounding Maura Murray's disappearance and death. Two people that was in the energy of Maura Murray's disappearance and death. Two people. I'm going to cut the deck and pull these two people. 1, 2. You can't make this up. They both came from the 12th house. The 12th house where this relationship partner, the significant other, a friend and somebody in that community. You cannot make this up. A friend and somebody in that community. Look what's in the 12th house of the chart that was pulled from the cards. Sagittarius. Sagittarius rules Jupiter. Jupiter is the planet that rules Sagittarius. Jupiter came out in the ninth house of help, where Virgo is. And I believe this is somebody that was from the college that she was at. You can't make that up. You cannot make that up. You can't make this up. That's who's responsible. Now, what actually happened to Maura Murray? I believe it's physical violence. She was shot. She got high, drunk, and she was killed. Physical violence. What happened to Maura Murray? One of my theories is that whoever she got into an accident with, they got so upset that they got out and they kidnapped her. Because when I looked at that car that she got into an accident with, on her windshield was a big gash, like somebody banged on her window out of anger and probably dragged her out of that car and kidnapped her and took her somewhere far and destroyed her. Now that's just a theory. That's what I feel like happened as far as theories. What actually happened to Maura Murray? What actually happened to Maura Murray? 11th house, property. 11th house is the community. That's Aquarius's house. And it happened on their property. Whatever happened to her, it happened on this person's property. Now look what's in the 11th house in the chart that was pulled from the cards. Scorpio. Death, sex, and shared resources. The same Scorpio that came first the day Maura actually disappeared. And look what's in the 11th house that day. Virgo. The same help that came for her in the 9th house. And the day it happened, she went to their home. Cancer is home. Family, mother, homes. She went to this person's home, their property. And that is where she met her demise. Where is the body of Maura Murray? Where is the body of Maura Murray? Where is the body of Maura Murray? Where is the body of Maura Murray, who disappeared February 9th, 2004, who was born May 4th, 1982? Where is the body of Maura Murray? Where is the body of Maura Murray? I'm going to cut the deck. In a remote area west from where her car was found. In a remote area west. In a remote area west. It could be in a cabin. It could be in a storage area. It could be buried in a remote area west. That is where her body is. And that is my reading. First, let me pull evidence. No, I'm not done. Let me pull evidence. Let me pull evidence that'll help us locate this remote area and the people responsible. I'm going to pull evidence in 6 cards. Give me evidence in 6 cards. Because I did let Maura know I will be using this deck. So she's definitely going to be using this deck with me. Evidence in 6 cards that will help us solve this case of the disappearance and death of Maura Murray. 6 cards of evidence. 6 cards of evidence. 6 cards of evidence. Maura Murray. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right. Public transportation. Bus, train. This tells me the school bus driver. You can't make that up. You cannot make that up. Public transportation. The letter I, the letter R. A blue vehicle is involved. Mistaken identity is somewhere involved. Hold up. Medical and employment records is involved. Medical and employment records is involved. There's a reason why this came out. There's a reason why this public transportation, bus and train came out. Bus or train, just public transportation, period. It could be a bus or a train. And we do know a public bus driver, school bus driver, is in the energy. Somehow in this investigation. The letter I and the letter R. Could this be somebody's name? Could this be the town she's in where her body's at? Could this be the name of somebody that's involved? The letter R and the letter I. Mistaken identity. How does mistaken identity play a role in this case? Medical and employment records. Why did this card come out? Somebody knows why this card came out. And a blue vehicle. Who has a blue vehicle? Could this be a license plate number? Could this be the name of the vehicle? That's my reading on Maura Murray. And I'm sticking to it.